sky is dripping gold and wrapping around me.
What's next?
Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I'm feeling so divine. Life can be so wonderful, warm and gentle light. Nothing's gonna bring me down. I'm feeling so divine.
Feeling divine, I'm feeling the vibes. I feel like it's more than just a feeling. What we could do.
Oh, look what we got here. Two high-performance four-door sedans. One supercharged 4.6 liter V8, one 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8. Man, I was really hoping to do a comparison video on these two cars, what Germany has to offer and what good old US of A has to offer. But if you guys watched the last Mercedes video, you know I'm still fighting some gremlins on this thing. Nope, nope, nope. This is actually unbelievable. What the f? That's neither here nor there. This part of the video is about my 2004 Mercury Marauder. We finished it up completely in the last video on this car in this series. And since then, I've trying to figure out what I want to do. I knew that I wanted to sell it. The project is done. It's time for it to move on to someone else. Time to make some space for another project on the channel. The question was, how do I sell it? A bunch of you had reached out. I thought about putting it on Bring a Trailer. I thought about doing a giveaway for maybe you guys with some merch stuff, but there's still some logistics I need to figure out there. So for the most part, I did nothing and just waited for people to reach out. A bunch of people reached out, and the first person to give me a deposit is now the one that owns the car. I have received the deposit for this car. It's going to be going to Texas here in a few days, but like most projects on my channel, especially the big ones, you guys know I like to do a cost breakdown. This is a lot of money involved, a lot of parts, a lot of time. It's good to see, you know, where I ended up. Did I make money? Did I lose money? How much money did it cost me to get this supercharged, Terminator swapped, 30,000 mile, clean title, 2004 Marauder to where it's at today? But there is one more thing that I need to do to this thing before it's ready to go to the new owner so that it's absolutely perfect for him when he gets it. Let's get it open. In a previous lifetime, this car was Vortex supercharged, and the previous owner had started installing a bunch of gauges like boost and wideband and things like that. The wideband that was in this car was from the original build, which is 9 or 10 years old at this point and sat outside for 8 of those years. I put it in and it seemed to work great for a while, but as of recently, I've been getting the dreaded 3 dash lines or 4 dash lines or whatever it is that the wideband sensors will show when the sensor itself is dead. I've experienced it many times on my C6 Z06, unfortunately, probably because I got a knockoff sensor. Thankfully, thanks to my friends over at Holley Performance, I was able to get a genuine AEM/Bosch 4.9 LSU wideband O2 sensor, so this should provide the best chance of us having a wideband O2 sensor survive in an application such as this, and will ensure that we have accurate wideband air-fuel ratio readings, which is especially important in a supercharged or forced induction vehicle such as this one. So let's get this thing up in the air one way or another, get this thing replaced, and make sure it works. Damn, this thing's low. We can sneak in over here. Bags. Alright guys, quick break from the action for a message from the sponsor of today's video, Viofo, and their new A119M 4K mini dash camera. This compact and sleek looking dash camera kit includes everything you're going to need to install it in your vehicle, including an optional hardwire kit if you don't want to use the simple plug and play USB adapter. Installation is a breeze. I simply use the anti-static material that is provided in the kit. Affix that to the windshield, then affix the dash camera to the material. Boom, that's installed. Viofo even gives you a tool to tuck the wiring up into your headliner, down the pillar. Plug that into your power source of your choice, dash camera boots up, and you are good to go. This camera records in 4K 30 frames per second, which ensures crystal clear video quality, and the new Sony Starvis 2 sensor captures license plates clearly. The HDR function allows clear capture of license plates at night, even at high speed. Plus, automatic event monitoring saves and locks the first 15 seconds and last 30 seconds after detecting an accident, ensuring important evidence isn't lost. Seems like this time of year especially, everyone is driving crazy out there. So you want to make sure you protect yourself, you protect your vehicle and your investment, and you don't want to have to think about it. The Viofo dash camera makes it just that easy. As soon as power is on in the car, it comes on, starts recording. So be sure to check the link in the description. I'm gonna have a discount code down there for you guys. If you're looking for a dash camera, go with the Viofo A119M Pro. Now, let's get back to wrenching. All right, everybody's favorite part, the cost breakdown. What do we have into this Terminator swapped 2004 Mercury Marauder? I just finished the numbers, results are in. Let's see how we did. In the past, I've gone through basically every purchase line by line. I'm not gonna do that this time. It just, not necessary, but we'll hit the big ticket items. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, I do this with every big project we've done since I started the channel, basically, because it's the way that I started getting into this back in 2014, 2015, when I first started buying and selling or flipping cars. I would keep an Excel spreadsheet. This goes back to 2014 here that I have. Obviously that was just for my benefit to see how much I made on the vehicles, but now it's good to keep track of costs for myself, A, and B, also at the end, be able to share those costs with you guys so that you can see how much doing something like this might cost you. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. God, that sounded so corporate. I've been in the corporate world too long. We're gonna circle back to this later. So before you see the parts, let's go over some of the basics. In January of 2025, I paid $9,000 for this car, shipped it up from Louisiana, sight unseen. Story goes, the previous owner bought it from a guy in Tennessee. It had a Vortex supercharger on it. He was going through the process of tuning it and kind of, tying up some loose odds and ends. Ended up blowing up the stock Marauder motor, which is basically the same as an 0304 Mach 1 motor. Pulled the motor out, and then the car basically sat for like 8 years. I think he blew it up in 2017 or 2018. At that point, I bought it, shipped it up here with the plan to swap in the extra Terminator motor that I had left over from the blue 03 Cobra project that we completed last year. That $9,000 included the 30,000 mile roller basically with transmission, as well as all the extra parts that he had. So good cylinder heads, intake manifold, cooling crossover, pulleys, timing covers, basically everything but the short block, which had a hole in it. Then it was $1,175 to ship it up here. So right off the hit, I was into this thing just over 10 grand, but a low mileage Marauder like this, I knew it was gonna be worth it. And the stack of receipts that I have for this thing that will hopefully stay with the car and are obviously going to the next owner show how much I was confident that we could make this into the exact car that Mercury should have made. Anyways, like I said, we got two columns here, basically parts I bought and parts I've sold. We're not going to go through all of them, but some of the big ticket items, and you guys can just take a look so you can see exactly how much this cost me, basically to the dollar, with one exception, which I'll talk about in a second. Headers, Stainless Works headers, and the lower pulley from Lightning Force Performance was $1,988. Big Rock Auto order, that was all the head gaskets, basically every gasket for this motor, 400 bucks. Did ARP head studs, that aftermarket SFI flex plate, and those SVT coil covers, $479. The engine. This is where it gets a little bit muddy. The machine shop bill from R&L Engines in Dover, New Hampshire was $5,030. But if you guys recall, I reused the engine that I bought, the original engine that I bought for the Terminator, reused the forged Cobra crank, reused the rods. They had to spec me a new set of pistons because we went 30,000 over. Where it gets muddy is that second motor that I bought for the 03 Cobra. I didn't need like any of the accessories, so I was able to sell a lot of that stuff, like the supercharger and the lower intake and the lower pulley setup and coolant crossover and oil cooler and all these 03 Cobra specific parts that are worth a good amount of money. So I probably basically was into that original motor for nothing. I made some good money on eBay over the past year selling those parts. But either way, I've assigned a value for that short block that I originally had that ended up being no good at about $3,000, which brings our grand total for the engine to $8,030. Let's see, the JLT intake, those beautiful billet idlers, and the alternator pulley required for the KMJ alternator, that was $674. It has second rock auto order, probably more gaskets and stuff. Yada yada yada, random stuff. Mufflers and the over the axle pipes, $390. The dyno tune was $600. We had to go twice, but we eventually got this thing sorted and got it put down, basically double the factory horsepower, which is awesome. This one was a big hit. Repaint the roof, the hood, the deck lid, and that passenger door that I wet sanded through. I paid $2,000 to some buddies for that, and that's a great deal. They had a ton of hours into this thing. They said they probably should have charged me more, but that's where things get expensive. That's where I wasn't planning on spending that $2,000, so that's basically right out of my profit. But I knew that in order to get top dollar for this car, you can't have, basically failed clear coat on the hood or on the roof and deck lid and things like that. Put brand new tires on this thing and then charged to mount them up. That was $644. Then random things like calipers, the new headlights. I added a miscellaneous row here for $200 just for things that I might have missed, random Amazon orders, random trips to the parts store, fluids, stuff like that, for a grand total of $17,848. So that is how much money I spent on parts beyond the original $9,000 to purchase this car. But you guys know we're not done yet. I like to try and sell stuff that I don't need to recoup some of that money. So again, we won't go through this second column here line by line, but some of the big ticket items, those extra 9-thread DB casting 4-valve cylinder heads, those are $1,000. I sold those to a buddy. That's a great deal for him. Marauder specific timing cover, manifolds are Marauder specific, the cooling crossovers Marauder specific, all that stuff. Oh, actually I got timing cover in here twice, so I'll pull that out. Basically a lot of this Marauder specific stuff was worth a good amount of money, and I sold a lot of it on eBay. Intake manifold, for example, the $415 just for that Marauder intake, which was included. And then just some extra parts that were included or that I didn't use because I was using the Terminator parts. So a grand total of just about $3,000 in parts that I sold. So here's where it gets good. If we subtract that $3,000 from that $17,000, we get a total investment of $14,878. If we then add that to our $9,000 original investment, we have a total amount invested in this 2004 Mercury Marauder of $23,878.24. Now the big question, we don't know how much money we made unless I know how much I sold it for. And the answer to that is just what I said, I think in the last videos. I was gonna be looking for mid-30s for this car, and that's exactly what I got. Agreed to a price of $35,000 for the new owner, which I think is a great deal for this car. There's not a lot of these out on the market, period. But the ones that are in this similar mileage range are all bone stock, and they're bringing high 20s, which is fine. But if you want, way more car with double the factory horsepower, which is the way that it should have been, but also still looks completely factory, and if you're at a car show, some guys might think that it's still 100% stock. As I've just shown here, line by line, you literally could not build the car for that price. You could not buy a stock Marauder with 30,000 miles as clean as this one, and then also build the Terminator motor for under $45,000 probably. So $35,000 is a great deal. There's not another one like this on the market right now, period. So it's basically that's where I think it was worth. That makes me a decent profit, and that's what we shook hands on. So $35,000 minus the total investment of $23,878 brings the profit to $11,121.76. Boom. So one thing I've never done on the channel yet is track hours. That would be an interesting thing to do on the next project, is maybe get a little meter that I hit every time I'm out here working, whether it's for 15 minutes or 12 hours straight. But it'd be nice to know, like, if we had that 11K figure, we could then divide that by the number of hours I have invested and see if I'm making $10 an hour or if I'm making $100 an hour. I don't know. Certainly a lot of hours in this project. If we compare it to the Trans Am we did earlier this year, that was a good sized project, but not nearly the scope of this one. I think I made like 9 or 10 grand on that. So the hourly rate for that one would have been a lot better, but I wanted to do this project. I wanted to put the 4-valve in something other than a Cobra, but also that, was almost designed to be there from the factory. So not like a way out in left field swap. So money aside, this is something that I wanted to do. I knew that if I did it right, I could still come out on top, which I did. Didn't get rich, especially considering the project took almost a year, but we had a great video series on it. I think 13, 14, 15 videos on it. And it seems like you guys really liked it as well. The new owner is super excited, and I'm super excited for him. We have had a heck of a December here so far this year. I was really hoping to drive this thing more, get to enjoy it a little bit, but it seems like as soon as I finish this thing, Old Man Winter came in. We've got like 10 inches of snow already this year. Right now, the real field temperature outside is like 3 degrees. It's windy, it's cold. The roads have a ton of salt on them, and this thing is way too nice to drive in those conditions. So it can either sit here until April and take up space and just get in my way, or we can move it along down the road and make room for another project, make more content for you guys. So that's what I've decided to do. I believe this thing is going to be out of here in a couple of days. I'll keep you guys posted. But that's going to do it for the Marauder. Right now, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to move on to some LS stuff that might be going in a marine application. Well, it finally happened. The wife finally kicked me out. So we're working in the shed. Just kidding, of course. I thought it would be fun to do a video in the shed for a couple of reasons. But first, let me give you a tour. So this is my 12 by 16 or 18 shed. I think it was 12 by 18, but either way, 12 by teen-ish. It is full of things that you would expect to find in a shed. Got the Walker commercial mower tucked in the corner because we are in winter mode. Some ladders. Aaron's snowblower, just used that today. Got the 26 by 14 Bro wheels in the corner here, tucked away because we got the stocks on now. Got my 04 YZ250, which I have not even kicked over once this year. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Then you've got some other stuff you would expect to find in a shed. The official Sullivan & Co. paint booth. Golf clubs, at least I got to use those a couple times this year. And then the focus, or what we're going to be focusing on, is right in this corner right here. I've got jet boat seat, one of them anyways, the one that wasn't completely rotted. And then one 5.3 truck engine, and then way back in the dark back there, I've got another 5.3 truck engine. And that is going to be the focus of this portion of the video. So why are you in the shed, and what is this thing that's running behind you? Well, to answer the first part, I thought it would be fun to film some stuff in here. Main reason being, these engines have been stored out here. Well, one of them has been stored out here for 5 years now. The second one I just picked up, which I'll explain in a little bit. But A, I don't feel like moving them, trudging them through the snow to the garage. Plus, all of my you know, engine equipment, like my engine stand and my engine crane are out here, and I think I've got enough room to do it. So I thought it might be a little fun challenge if I could see what kind of work we could get done in the shed. The only problem right now is it's 14 degrees out. But I got a new tool that might help with that. Vevor just sent me this diesel heater. So I filled it up with about a gallon of diesel just to try it out. And I've had it running for a few minutes now. It is already, I don't know, in the mid 20s, high 20s in here. And we'll see how hot it gets. Got it plumbed out the window here. It comes with this high temp exhaust thing and even a little muffler out there. So this thing is ripping some hot air. So even though this shed is completely uninsulated, if we can get it into the mid 40s in here, I think we might be able to get something done. At least my hands might work without gloves on them and we can, you know, turn some bolts. So anyways, you guys are probably seeing where this is going, where maybe this build is going, if you guys have been following the jet boat series. Which right now is only one video, but we got some engines back here. Right now, let's get them out. Hopefully we can get one of them on a stand, which means getting the engine crane going, and then I can tell you guys a little bit more about it, and a little bit more about what my plan is. At least the beer stays cold. Oh yeah, no power out here, so I've got my hood lights strategically placed up in the rafters here, so we'll see how long those last. Modular Fords lately. Alright, well here they are, my shed engines, if you will. If you guys watched the jet boat video, the first of hopefully many jet boat videos, it's my 1977 Anthony 18-foot Wildcat jet boat. My first jet boat. It's got a 460 big block in it, which allegedly had a recent rebuild, and it runs pretty good, albeit needing some carb work and some tuning. Really only had it out for about 15 minutes last fall, but you guys know I'm a fuel injection guy, I'm an LS guy. I've had the thought of LS swapping it, and I know a lot of you guys said to keep it big block, a lot of you guys said to LS swap it. And I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I do just happen to have two 5.3s sitting in my shed. And with a little bit of work, these could be an awesome candidate for an LS swap in that jet boat. How did I get them? Well, if you guys know my twin turbo C6 Z06, you know that that has a fully built LS in it. But at the base of that twin turbo LS is one of these. This is an LC9. Which is a aluminum Gen 4 5.3 LS. So aluminum block, aluminum heads. It's got the DOD or displacement on demand. But the Gen 4 5.3s are one of the strongest from the factory LS motors that you can get. You know, barring like the LS9 and stuff, but for a junkyard LS, this is about as good as it gets right here. So the one in my Z06 is, you know, forged crank, forged rods, aftermarket everything, ARP everything. It's been bored, all that. It's like a, you know, $12,000 motor. But at the end of the day, it is an LC9 block. And while I was building that motor, my brother who lives up north said that his buddy was taking this out of his, I don't even remember what it was, you know, early 2010 Chevy, and said that he was selling it for, I think it was $150 for the short block. Oh yeah, now I remember. He was swapping in a 6-liter for whatever reason. You know, 20 horsepower maybe, doing an engine swap. Makes a ton of sense. Anyways, I got this LC9 short block with like 100,000 miles on it for, I think, $150. So I figured it'd be a good spare motor to have for the Corvette, or just a good LS to tuck away in the corner of the shed. So that's where it's been for about 5 years. So then the thought came of putting that in the jet boat. And I was like, all right, well, you know, it's a short block. I'm gonna need some heads. So I started looking around at LS heads, and I was like, all right, well then I'm gonna need an alternator and a couple accessories and coil packs and random hardware and stuff like that. And heads alone are gonna cost you $250. So then I went down the rabbit hole of, well, how much is a whole nother LS? And wouldn't you know, I found another LC9, so aluminum block Gen 4, as complete as it gets. You know, belt is still on it, fluid's still in it, everything. What did I pay? $300 for this thing? So now I have two LC9, you know, motors basically, one bottom end or short block and one full motor for $450 or whatever. I figured that was the way to go. You know, making sure that I have all the random stuff that I'm going to need, like a flex plate, which is on the back of this one, a timing cover, all that stuff that I'm going to need for any good LS build. Of course, a lot of this stuff is junk, probably won't use the intake. Most of the accessory brackets and stuff, you obviously don't need a water pump on a jet boat, AC compressor, you know, manifolds, probably not, but coil packs and brackets and, you know, random hardware. I think the timing cover, or maybe that's a DOD timing cover, I can't remember, but I figured it was good, you know, to pick this thing up for $300. Like, apparently the kid, it was in a 2012 GMC and he like put it into a ditch or something, but it ran absolutely perfect, and we'll check that out. But basically my plan is to take whichever one of these short blocks is in better shape, pick that one, and then we're going to build it up as like a built stock-ish LC9. So, you know, allegedly, if we wanted to throw some boost at this motor, we could do that. I'll show you guys this motor in the light a little bit later, but first things first, let's get something done tonight. Let's start tearing this motor down. As I mentioned, I've got no power out here, but I did grab a Milwaukee bag with a bunch of my tools, some baggies and a Sharpie to label stuff, but, you know, just whatever power tools I had, some sockets, some ratchets, the stuff you're gonna need to tear down an LS, a 10 mil, a 13 mil, a 15 mil, you know, we'll see how many trips I have to make to the garage, but let's get to work, start tearing this thing down. What do we got in the shed here? Guess I should have brought a hammer. Piece of cake. Right tool for the job. Ho ho ho! Aww. Powering down. I'm not kidding when I say it's 13 degrees and dropping outside. And in a shed of this size, this little heater kept it comfortable in here. I mean, I didn't even have it running for that long. Everything in here was cold, so I'm sure if I gave it a little longer, we probably could have got it, you know, mid-50s in here, maybe hotter. I don't know, but she rips. If you guys are looking for an affordable and effective heater to, you know, heat small-ish spaces, I'll leave a link for the Vivor one in the description. Couple hours and I really burned through less than a quarter tank too, so very efficient. Didn't burn the place down either with my expert install, so that's always good. Anyways, we've got some progress going on here with just about an hour of work. We got this thing on the stand and torn down to the point where we are ready to take the heads off. After working on my Mercedes for the past few weeks, I am so glad to be working on an LS. I'm starting to get to know the Mercedes like the back of my hand, but I really know these like the back of my hand, and they are just so simple. Anyways, I know it may not look like much right now, but if you guys have seen the channel before, you know some of the LS vehicles that I have on the channel, you know we're going to have this thing looking right with not too much money involved for this build anyways. But yeah, intake is off, water pump is off, accessory bracket is off, alternator, where did I put that? Right there, that's off. AC compressor is off. We are basically ready to pop the exhaust manifolds off and then pull the heads off and see what's going on inside, see what the cylinder walls look like. Obviously had some sort of mouse living up here at one point in the past 13 years. But my portable vacuum ran out of batteries. Everything's running out of batteries in this cold weather, but thankfully my lights are hanging in there for now. And here's the main reason for the purchase of this motor. Like I said, the heads are the most expensive part to completing a short block. These are the $799 heads, which are basically the same as a 243. Just about as good as you're going to get for a stock truck casting anyways, which if we are going to throw a boost at this thing, really doesn't matter anyways. But you can see why they call them, you know, cathedral port truck heads. This is your displacement on demand valley cover. So you got oil pressure running through these, which runs to the lifters, which tells them which cylinders to shut down. Don't know much about it because whenever you're doing a performance build on an LS, you always get rid of this and they're failure prone anyways. But I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight. I'd like to soak these manifold bolts in PB Blaster to give us maybe some chance of getting them off without breaking them in the head. If they do, it's not the end of the world. I guess we can weld nuts to them and back them out that way. But we want to avoid extra work if we can, so we're going to let those soak. And then I guess I'll get the crank puller out here as well, and we can get this crank pulley off, get this DOD timing cover off, which I guess I answered my own question. This is probably going in the trash as well. But overall, very stock and basic looking 5.3 LS. Got a mix tonight of, what is this, Night Light Lager. This is out of Night Shift in Boston, and Market Basket Lager. It's a new one. So staying warm no matter what the temperature in here. See you guys tomorrow morning. Well, good morning. Day 2, back out in the shed. Oh, butter. I've increased the fire hazards out here from 1, the heater, to 2, map torch, but I'm working on getting these exhaust manifold bolts out. And so far I've got these 2 on this side loosened up. Not broken any yet. In classic New England fashion, the temperature has gone up like 25 degrees. So now it's 40 degrees and raining out, which means it's a reasonable temperature in here even without the heater. But I'm gonna put some more diesel in that thing, get it a little warmer in here. But gotta get these manifold bolts off, get the manifolds off. We'll pop the valve covers, remove the valve train. We can pop these cathedral port heads off. Take a look, see what the cylinders and pistons look like. I already noticed someone broke a stud on this side, or maybe just broke off. I think that's pretty common on these truck motors, especially up here in the Northeast. But there is some bolt sticking out, so we might be able to get to it with vice grips. But these have been soaking in PB Blaster all night. We'll hit them with a little bit of heat first and then easily try and crack them off. We'll see if we get away with none of them breaking. I doubt it, but you never know. Let's press forward. Oh, that one was tight. Here we go. Let's see. Come on. Shoo! Yikes. Gratata! Four down, 12 to go. Lightweight, ain't nothing but peanut. Time to bleed. Manifolds are off and in a pile over there. This thing came out, no problem, no heat, no anything. I broke this one over here because I had decided, hey, maybe it's a better idea to shock it with the impact first and then hit it with some heat and stuff, and of course it broke immediately. So I don't know why I changed from my process that worked for the other ones, but all of the bolts are out. No welder required, so that's good news. Balancer and timing cover are off. Like I said, this is a DOD, or displacement on demand timing cover, so likely bound for the trash. Same thing with most of the stuff up here. Oil pump you'll do while you're in there. Shirts on the website, and whatever wizardry this is for the DOD. You can see the valley plate in there has got some complex stuff as well. So all of this is likely going in the trash. Pop the valve covers off. I don't know if they've ever been off, but we've got a very clean 5.3. The kid I bought it from said it was a well-maintained truck, and you know, you never know till you get a valve cover off, but no sludge at all other than the dust that I dropped in there from taking the gasket off. But you know, we'll probably be doing valve springs and seals and everything else anyways. But you know, here's where the money is. Heads, valve train, all the stuff that I would have had to buy for that motor. So let's get all these rockers out, which will give us access to the head bolts. We'll loosen those up, probably starting at the outside and working our way in. You want to do that to make sure that you don't warp the head taking it off. It is possible to do that, so I usually do reverse of the way that it would have been torqued down, which would have been center to out. So we'll get the heads off, get a look at the cylinders, and we can get all this timing stuff off, get the cam out. And later we'll flip this whole thing over, take a look at the crank and the rods and all that. Heads are off, both sides. Valley cover is off. Take a look in the valley here, nice and clean. We can see the cam down there. Cylinders look really good. You can still see the cross hatching. There's some staining on some of them, probably not a huge deal. I guess we're just gonna have to compare, you know, which short block looks better. This one has been sitting for a while, but I did WD-40 the cylinders before I put it away. So what I'll probably end up doing is cleaning both of these, you know, cylinder walls as best I can, seeing which one looks better, and that's the one we'll end up building. And then whatever one we don't build, maybe we send that one to a machine shop and have it, you know, fully built, as opposed to the, you know, backyard build that we're gonna do on one of these. But overall, I mean, nothing too concerning. A bunch of this junk kind of dumped in here because I don't have my full power vacuum, but we obviously got a lot of cleaning to do before heads go back on anyways. At this point, I'm ready to, you know, get some of this stuff off of here, but there's that oil pickup tube bolt down there that is a pain to get to with the oil pan on, so I figure we might as well flip this thing over and take the pan off, see how the crank and rods look, and then we can get all this timing stuff off, get the cam out, all that good stuff. Oh, I guess I should take the lifters out too. Almost there. Let's keep going. See how messy this is gonna get. I love this engine stand drip tray. A little bit of that Dex Cool in there. Oh, we didn't drain the oil yet. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. All right, where were we? That's GM's variable valve timing. It's giving Mercedes vibes. So here's your standard LS lifter, and then these ones, and 2 per cylinder, are your DOD ones. You can see they have that extra oil passage, which somehow shuts down the valve so that you effectively shut down a cylinder for increased fuel economy. But a lot of times you'll see 5.3s with a bad lifter. It's usually these ones that fail. If you're building an LS, even on a budget, especially a higher mileage one like this, these are wear items. This is all trash. We're going to replace these. Comes the bump stick. Sometimes you can take a water pump bolt, or actually even better, screwdriver. Makes a good handle. Keep the weight off those back cam bearings so you don't scratch those. Oh, my light almost ended up in the drink again. Well, couple hours of work later, and we are torn down to less than a short block, basically. Got the DOD cam out, the timing set out, the cam bearings look good, feel good. Those are usually not too problematic. So when we go back together with this, we'll obviously be doing an aftermarket cam. Usually you replace the cam retainer plate, obviously the timing chain, and then it's not really a tensioner on these LSs. It's more of a, you know, just keeps the chain slap, you know, at bay. If we flip her over, everything looks pretty good. This thing was, I mean, it was due for an oil change, but there was zero material anywhere in the oil, you know, just dirty. but there was nothing in there as far as bearing material or glitter or anything like that. All the rods look the same. There's not, you know, two that look like they got hot or that they smoked a bearing already. I had thought about pulling one of the rod caps to see what the bearings look like, but these are torque to yield fasteners from GM. There's some guys that say you can reuse these like 2 or 3 times, but man, I would hate to take apart this thing or, you know, crack open a rod and then have it fail, you know, a couple 100 miles later because it was a torque to yield fastener. So I'm not sure. I might just we might just run this as is. I think we would probably be in good shape based on how the oil looked. Well, there you have it, guys. LS teardown in a shed. Ever since I had this shed built last year, I always thought it'd be fun to maybe do a little bit of light motor work in here. I think I had to make about 30 trips to the garage for random tools that I forgot, but everything I have here to get us this far is basic hand tools. Like I said, 15, 13, 10 mil, 8 mil. You know, if you got power tools like the electric ratchet and impact and stuff, that's obviously makes things faster, but certainly not required. So cheap diesel heater, a couple of battery powered hood lights, and some basic hand tools. And we've torn this LS from a running Gen 4 5.3 down to less than a short block, ready for cleaning and to start building for a performance build. Where my head's at right now, I'm thinking LS9 head gaskets, ARP head studs, a big lumpy cam, obviously all new timing components, all new gaskets. Not sure on intake manifold yet if it's turbo builds. I don't know, pretty much anything will work. I mean, I might continue to run the Ford 460 for a little bit in that boat while, you know, we work on some other stuff. It needs some interior work, but either way, I'm definitely building one of these on the side. With a few $1,000s worth of parts in this thing, we could have a badass Gen 4 LS that is probably capable of 800 plus horsepower. There's plenty of guys that make over 1,000 stock bottom end on these Gen 4 LC9s. And then for a little bit more money, we could probably do a Holley Terminator, and you know, I've got a welder and some fab skills. We could easily fab up a turbo kit. Things are gonna get out of hand is kind of where I'm going, but this is the start of it. So my plan is to kind of start gathering parts this winter for not only this motor, but for the boat, and then in the spring, hopefully tackle that. If you guys are into the boat series, let me know, leave the video a thumbs up. Be sure to go watch the first video if you haven't already, and we'll keep you posted on how this big power LS build is gonna go. I've made a big mess in here, so I'm gonna clean this up, get myself organized, and see what I need to order. Back in the garage, here is the scrap pile. We got manifolds, motor mounts, water pump, accessory drive bracket, power steering pump, valve covers, timing cover, valley cover, oil pan, cam, oil pump, lifters, yada, yada, yada. Most of this stuff is just not relevant for a jet boat build, and unfortunately it's just not worth a lot of money. Probably gonna have to do a marine, you know, deep sump oil pan. We're replacing the cam, oil pump, lifters. Those are all, you know, while you're in there, replace it items while you're doing a cam. I think I've got like 6 sets of LS valve covers. I'll just grab the sensors I need off of here, and this stuff can all go to the scrapyard. Truck manifold might be worth a few bucks. We'll see if anyone local wants that. I'll probably end up using the alternator after we clean it up. Coils, some random hardware, that's about it. This AC pump probably needs to go in the scrap pile too. So basically, maybe the balancer, I'll probably get like a ATI one, but basically the short block in the shed and this right here is all we're keeping. Oh yeah, and the heads. That's basically the whole reason I bought that motor. Well, that is going to do it for this one, guys. A little bit of 4-valve modular Ford/Mercury automobile content, and then way out in left field, some LS teardown for a marine application out in the shed when it was 10 degrees. So that's just how these videos work out sometimes. Just had a little bit of free time between projects, between the Mercedes. You know, still looking for my next project car. If you guys have any ideas, send them my way. Chris@sullivan-co.com. As always, check out the apparel on the website. You guys know the deal. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you thought about the Marauder series. I'll catch you in the next one.